Hello, everyone. Welcome
Hello.
to Voiceover Casting Corner.
We
We
are back.
are back, yes, for October. It's sometimes hard to believe that a month has already gone by again.
Right?
I don't know how this happens.
There's only 2 months left in the year.
Oh my gosh. But we're excited to be here, and we are actually going to be doing a special episode 2 weeks from today, on Wednesday, October 30th at 3 p.m. Pacific, where we are going to be talking about websites and social media content. We're going to have a special guest, Ben Schneider from developitben.com, and he's going to talk about all the things for websites and social media. So that'll be a fun little special episode we'll have in a couple weeks as well. But today we're going to talk about scams and red flags.
Yeah, what you need to look out for as an actor.
Yeah, there's a lot of it out there, especially with the internet. I know several people who are, just looking for jobs right now. Just not even voice acting, just jobs in general right now. And it has been a nightmare for everybody. And it's like you're constantly getting, these emails of, hey, we're interested and we want to, to talk to you on WhatsApp. And like all these kind of weird things. And it's like so much of that is even scam. So it's not just like it's in our industry, it is everywhere.
Oh, it's everywhere.
You all know we get scam phone calls and scam text messages and emails and all of that all the time.
Yep.
So we want to talk about some VO specific things to really be aware of, and just the more knowledge the better, so that you know to look out for things.
Exactly. Yeah.
So whether you're watching this live or you're watching a replay later on, it's like I'm sure many of you have either seen these come through or hopefully you haven't yet, but now you will be aware because it will
Or you probably
happen.
know somebody this has happened to. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it will happen. It will.
Yep.
I hate that it does.
A lot of bad apples out there.
Yeah, I feel like in a couple of the just like voiceover community groups that I'm in on Facebook, I feel like every day I'm seeing people posting things like, hey, do you guys think this is a scam? And it's like, oh man, it's
trust
everywhere.
Your gut. If you get any weird feelings about something, you probably have that for a reason.
Yeah, and reach out to people. It's like use those communities. That's exactly what they're there for. People can kind of help you navigate all of that. So first of all, we're going to talk about some red flags. Obviously, there are probably more than we're listing, but we want to cover some of the big ones that we see on a regular basis.
Yeah,
fortunately, yeah. So, Kathryn, do you want to talk about the first one?
So the first one, I mean, if you're an actor out there, the first thing you want to get is that agent or that manager, and it can be so difficult to get one. And as soon as you get a lead on that, it's easy to just pounce on it. But always be wary of ones that require some sort of payment up front. Remember, the agents or managers, they work for you. So they take a commission after you book something. You're not paying them up front to do the job for you. So anyone that's asking you for money up front, that's always a big red flag. And they also should never require you to produce a demo with them. They may have places that they recommend you go or places they like to work with, but they shouldn't require you to use a specific company for that kind of a thing, because sometimes they're getting money back for that. So they usually have a vested interest in why they want you to use that company, not because they're anything special, but because they're in their pocket somehow. So just kind of be wary of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and that's not to say don't trust your agent. If you have an agent and they're like, oh, but they told me to study with this, that's okay. It's like a lot of agents refer people to our classes. I don't pay agents for that.
But it's
They
not like you
ask me
have to
about our
take a
class
class with us.
information, and it's more of, ask your agent, and it's as long as they're not requiring it. If you're asking about recommendations for where to take a class or where to get a demo done or anything like that, your agent should have resources for you. But yeah, you don't, it's if they ever are like, you have to do a new demo, you just did a new one, and now you have to do a new one with this person, or it's the same thing on camera with headshots. Like, oh, okay, great. I know you just got new headshots 2 weeks ago, but we need you to get headshots with this person. Those are things to definitely watch out for. And there is an agent out there, I'm not going to name names, but they require you to sign up for their website. And last I knew, it was like $25 a month to have your demos on there and to receive castings from there, to receive the auditions from there. That's a little bit weird.
That's their job.
It feels a little more like a casting website than having representation. So I don't recommend doing that. It's things like that. It's personal preference. I mean, it's like, if you want to try it and see what happens, okay. But Jeff said, why do I get the feeling I know who you're talking about? You might.
You might.
You might. The next thing is of course the dreaded topic of AI. So watching out for any AI related language in your contracts. I know contracts are such a pain to read. Nobody wants to read contracts, but you want to protect yourself. And, at the very least, it's like, ask whoever you're working for to sign the Nava AI writer. Nava has put together with a legal team an AI writer. And we've had a lot of clients who are more than happy to sign that for talent. And that just adds that protection, but at least making sure there aren't references to AI, voice synthesizing. What else? AI training, any like TTS, things like that are all AI. So just being careful with some of that language in, your contracts. Make sure you're aware of those and question them. It's like, I've had people come to me with questions or with contracts that we've sent out, and they're like, oh, what does this mean? And sometimes it's like, that's in there because of this, and it's like, sometimes there are reasons, but you definitely need to just protect yourself.
You're looking out for your own interest here.
Yeah. We want to save you any issues.
You don't want to be surprised later on. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Another big one you'll get from some more scammy people, or any classes or workshops that promise you work. Like, if you take this class, I guarantee you will book a job, or I guarantee you'll get an agent. Anything like that. You can't promise that kind of stuff. You may have, like, we tell people that we're a casting house, so if you take a class with us, we'll consider you for casting, or we're more likely to consider you for casting, but we never promise you're going to get an audition. We never promise you're going to book anything. So just keep an eye out for those kinds of things. Anyone that promises you something, especially in this industry, nothing's guaranteed. That you can't promise that kind of stuff. So.
No, it's like, yeah. And even, on the casting side, it's like, so much of what we do is also the personal touch with getting to know talent. So it's like, the more casting directors you can work with and get to know, the better, because they're going to put you forward more so than somebody who they don't necessarily know. But nobody can guarantee you work. It doesn't matter if it's a casting director, an agent, a fellow actor, whatever. Nobody can guarantee
There's
that.
too many unknowns, too many things that go into who gets chosen for spots. You can't guarantee that kind of stuff.
Yep. And even if we were to put you forward on every single project we do, we don't make the final decision. So that's something to keep in mind as well.
Exactly.
So just moving into some of the scams specifically that we have seen, there of course are so many, and we could talk about this all day. I was looking at our kind of outline for today, and I was like, wow, there's a lot. There's a lot that we want to cover. We could just be talking for the next 3 hours, but we won't. We're trying to give you guys the bullet points so that, you can also type in voiceover scam on Google and find something. Sure. I've seen people who have had conversations with these people and, just trying to fish for more information and basically calling them out on it. And, it's interesting if you get a response. Right. But of course, there are the pay-to-play websites. So the pay-to-play casting websites are a huge place to be super, 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 super careful. Some are more reputable than others, but essentially they're all putting you out there, and they are all you're going to be taking risks on those no matter what. You're on them publicly. So it's like anybody can search for you and see that you're on voices.com or Voice 123 or Voice Bunny or Voice Frontier or Voice whatever. There are so many. And I mean,
anyone can post on them.
We don't recommend them. Yeah. Exactly. So often it's like, how do you know if these are legit companies? And then if you look at the fine print of most of the sites, they don't protect you from people stealing your voice for things. And, so it's like you have to be super, super careful. But a lot of scams do end up stemming from those sites because they see that you're on there. They will be like, oh, I really liked this spot on your demo, and, things like that. And it's like, oh, you have to be careful with that. Because then it'll start whole other conversations. But of course, I mean, pay-to-play websites are known for undercutting talent. It's not paying fairly. You're gonna get ripped off. It's like you're gonna do things for less than you'd be doing them through an agent or through casting directors. They have no protection for actors. They're on the client side. Even though they make all their money from actors. Yep. Not just the actor fees, the annual or monthly fee, but then they also take a percentage of your bookings on top of what they charge the clients. Some of them have tiered pricing. You pay more and you'll get in front of more people. That kind of goes along with the red flags that we were talking about as far as people trying to guarantee you work. Pay me more, take my class, and you'll get, more work. And it's like, pay us more and we'll guarantee more auditions. So you have to be so cautious on those websites.
Yeah.
And
if you're ever not sure of what rates are, what does a standard TV commercial pay or a radio commercial pay? A great resource is the Voiceover Resource Guide. They actually have a list there of what SAG scale payments are. So you can use that to kind of compare what they're paying you, at least make sure you're at least in the ballpark. You don't want to be being paid $100 for a national TV commercial, yep. So that can be a good way to kind of
rate guide. Yeah, and the GVAA rate guide is also a good one. It's just to have some sort of a base on where to kind of start. You'll be able to see how ripped off right. on some of that stuff. At least give you kind of a baseline. And obviously rates can vary. Sometimes it's just there's some sort of reason why they're paying less, or sometimes it's like, wow, they're paying more than the average. So take it now.
Exactly right. Exactly. And then another scam. I actually had this happen to me years ago when I was looking for a job. But there's a scam where, the client is going to send you a check, before the session. They're going to ask you to pay for a studio, or to rent a studio. And then the check bounces. You've had to send this money in. These kinds of things are out there. So, anyone that says they're going to send you a check ahead of time to pay for something, it's always super sketchy. Because there's a scam where you deposit the check, it goes through, but then it bounces, and you have to pay out of pocket, and it's a whole mess. And there was never a job to begin with, so that kind of stuff.
Or
I see that a lot.
I also heard of one where they actually said that they add like a zero. So it's like they write you that check for $3,000, and they're like, "Whoops, it was supposed to be $300. Can you refund us the $2,700?" And then it's like, you send out $2,700, you're not going to get it back.
Yep.
So yeah, just all kinds of,
Anything
and this is
like
all
that.
before the session. Obviously, it's different if you've done the work for them. The situation would be different, but you're not going to get paid before.
Most clients, if they need to rent out a studio for you, they're going to be paying for it. You're not paying for it, and then they're paying you back. So, yeah.
And it's just people reaching out to you. Honestly, it's like most of the stuff, unless they have a reputable company and you can find some sort of online presence. Like, and I say that because like we've had to reach out to people through their website. We're legit. We're real casting directors. We're real people. We're a real company that's been around for 49 years. You're going to find us online. However, if you get an email from somebody saying, "Hey, I love this spot on your demo. We would love to have you do this for us." Look up the company, look up the email address, look up their name. If you're not finding anything, red flag. They're not there. They don't exist, And sometimes you'll even get the same email a couple times from different people, which is always interesting because it's like, well, at least they should target different email addresses, right? Not give themselves away. But it happens a lot. So just be safe out there.
Exactly.
And I'm sure there are a million other tactics that we're not even gonna scratch the surface today. But these are things that often happen.
Yep.
So being as safe as you can.
And then just some ways you can protect yourself while you're out there, in the wild west of auditioning, is, especially if you don't know the company or the person that you got the audition from, don't record the entire script. Just record part of it. That way they can't just take and use what you sent in. You're going to have to do an actual session at some point. But it's enough that they can hear what you sound like, hear how the script sounds in your voice, know if you're right for the job. But they will have to re-record it, so they'll have to get back to you. So that's a good one. And kind of along with that is just sending only MP3s for an audition. It's always a little bit of a red flag for me when I see an audition request where they want a WAV or an AIF file, because that's the higher quality. Why would they need that kind of quality for an audition? That's usually something you want in the actual recording session. So kinds of stuff like that, just send in MP3s, don't record the entire script unless you get it from a reputable source like an agent, a manager, maybe a company you've worked for before. And then it's fine to do that.
Yeah. There are pretty set standards for auditions like that. So it's like when somebody's asking for something kind of outside of those standards, or like read this 15-page script, or
the entire script for this series,
60 prompts for the, it's like, oh, that's a little excessive.
Need all that.
You definitely don't need all of that. It's like, and even if it's like a 30-second spot, but you're like, oh, I don't, this, I want to protect myself. It's on a pay-to-play website or whatever. Leave out something important, an important word, or change a word or something where they can't just grab it and take it and use it. I've known several people that's happened to, and the pay-to-play websites will not help you. So, and then, of course, if you're ever unsure about any of this, a contract, the way they've worded something, what they've asked for, an email that you've received, I said this earlier, but I'm going to say it again. Talk to people. Reach out to the voiceover community. Everybody is so supportive in the voiceover community. Depending on how long you've been here, it's like people are amazing. Everybody is willing to help everybody. So take advantage of that, use those moments, join those groups on Facebook, on LinkedIn. Make sure you're using the resources that are out there. Talk to casting directors, talk to your coaches, your teachers, talk to people, ask questions. That's how you're going to learn. That's how you're going to keep safe. So yeah, ask about certain companies, things like that. It's like all
Have you ever
of
had this
that.
happen to you? Yeah.
Yep. And share your story. If you have been scammed, share your story so people are aware of what happened. Get it out there. Don't be embarrassed, because it's happened to so many people, and some of them are good.
You're right.
Some of them
can be sophisticated. Yeah. That's why some of these are like, I don't know, is that real?
Exactly. So yeah, just make sure you're reaching out. Use those community resources, so that you can keep yourself safe. It's
I think
always being cautious, of course.
Exactly. And of course, the tried and true saying of, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. It's good advice for a reason. If something's paying a lot of money, maybe be a little more suspicious of it as you go through. It doesn't mean there aren't good paying jobs out there, but if you get that little inkling in your stomach or that little itch in your brain saying, maybe not, it's probably there for a reason. And maybe investigate a little further, do a little more research before you submit on something.
And if you're newer, it's tempting. It's tempting to be like, oh, this is so exciting, somebody's interested. And it's like, I don't want to break your heart, but it's probably not what you think it is. So, just going into it, any emails or contact things that you get that are, about a job, just keep your guard up, at least be cautious, be aware, always watching out for those things. All right. And let's shift into some questions that you guys have. If anybody has anything, feel free to put them in the chat.
What we talked about today, or just anything VO related in general.
Anything at all. In the meantime, I'm going to mention just a couple of things. Sorry, that's not, there we go. If you haven't seen, we have merch, which is exciting. We have some fun things in the store, and the whole team just got some here, so we're excited about it. Everything is looking good. So if you want anything fun, we do have the merchandise store there. And then Ben just posted in the comments as well that we do have a promo going on right now through Halloween. And it's 10% off any workshop, either on voicecaster.com, so our live workshops, or Voicecaster Lab. So take advantage of that if there's something that you have been interested in or anything like that.
We're about to start our last round of classes for the year, so if you're interested in jumping in with us, now's the time to do it.
Yep. All right, let me look at some of the comments I'm seeing here. Susie, so happy to have done my demo and website with y'all. Yeah. I love hearing that, Brandon. He says he just forwarded the Nava AI writer to someone today and explained what it was because they hadn't seen it. And they said, wow, this is pretty smart. Shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, that's a huge win. I love when there's no kickback and they're just like, yeah, let's do it. So that's great. Good. All right. And let me see. I see Ellen said, I had a job where it was with a real company and I signed a contract that looked very legit. It turned out the legit person's contacts were hacked.
That's scary.
Job looked real with their website. That is scary. And like the thing is like they can, it's amazing. I mean, I don't know how to do it. Obviously, I'm not a hacker, but it's amazing that they can clone email addresses and stuff too. So they can
things look like they're coming from somebody and they're not.
Yeah. I mean, I've gotten emails where it looks like I'm emailing myself.
Yeah, I get those all the time.
Yeah, and it's like change the password, it still happens, and it's like they're cloning your email address, which is so crazy. And we actually had an issue several years ago now, where somebody even took like one of our invoices and changed information on it, so it looked like we were invoicing a company and they were paying those invoices, but it was going to the person who took our invoice. They had the money routed to them. It was the craziest thing. I don't know how that happens, but all kinds of crazy stuff has happened. So
Margot pointed out, I've seen that happen before too, with when they want bilingual actors to audition, but only provide an English script and then want you to translate the script and audition into Spanish. And yeah, that's super sketchy. So yeah, you should get paid for that. If you're translating it, you should get a translation fee.
100%. And in that situation, yeah, when clients come to us with that kind of stuff, I'm like, you need to provide me a script. And they're like, oh, we don't have one yet. Great. Then you got to figure it out. You got to get me something. That ends up being where the awful Google Translate scripts come in, is when they're like, oh, I don't want to have to pay every actor to translate the audition. But that's not okay. That is above and beyond, what what you need to do, especially for an audition. And even in a session, if they want you to translate something, it's like, yeah, that'll be an extra fee. Translation fee.
Yeah.
You should be charging for that for sure.
Because that's something they should be doing, not you.
Yep. Or if they want you to do it, then they need to be hiring you for that, so it's like you need to pay for that. We have a few specifically Spanish talent who the client will send the English script to them. They're the Spanish voice. The client will send the English script to them and ask them to translate it before the session. They get paid for that. And if they have to go back and, rework anything because of timing or anything like that, script changes, they get paid for that.
Yeah, it's your time. It's your expertise. That's valuable.
Yep. Yeah. Ellen followed up with, I had recorded the script, called the company, and they were upset that this had happened to them. They were answering calls from other VOs that this had happened to. It's awful. And it's such a mess because there's so much of that stuff that you can't really.
Yeah. Because you did your due diligence. You looked into it and they seemed legit.
Yes. Yeah. And that's the biggest thing is that's why I said be loud about it and like post it in the groups, it's like, yeah, put it out there so that other people are aware. Yeah. All right. Any other questions? We're light on questions today, everybody. Anything at all?
Ooh, Phil got his new t-shirt. That's excellent, Phil.
Yay! I love it. You'll have to send us a picture, Phil.
That's right.
Modeling. All right. Ellen's a different question. I just don't see the question yet, but it's probably coming.
She's typing it as we speak.
Yeah. Yeah.
There we go.
So yeah, coming. Oh, go ahead. I have noticed that.
Quiet on our end too, Ellen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ellen said she's noticed that auditions coming from her agent have been very light over the past few weeks. Yeah, it's the time of year, honestly.
Yeah.
You'll
notice things ebb and flow. It'll get really busy, then it gets a little quiet, then it gets busy again. Yeah. No, just nothing in particular. It just might be a little gap in between.
Not you.
Yeah.
It's not you. It's just, yeah, as you get to the end of the year, it's one of those things where some companies have kind of run out of their budget.
They've used their budget for the year.
And then also it's just like the end of the year, a lot of things are kind of wrapping up.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you think
they're still seeing some holiday spots trickle in, so they're but once those are done, you're kind of done for the year.
Yeah, I mean, those are going to be done in the next couple weeks, because they're going to have all of that start airing after Halloween. So yeah, we even find that it's a quieter time of the year. So, it's like there's no guarantee on when things will be quiet. It's not how it used to be where it's
there's
like,
no season
this is when everybody's on hiatus, or this is pilot season.
Mm-hmm.
It's like none of that is a thing right now. And honestly, the entire entertainment industry is really slow right now. I mean, ask any actor out there. It's just how it is, It's like,
and it'll pick up. And there's always a little bit of a rush towards the end of the year too. You'll get a few companies that maybe they still have some money in their budget. Like, we got to use this up before the quarter ends.
That's when we get the December 26th.
Yeah,
email.
the right before Christmas. It's like everyone's out of town. What are you guys doing?
But that's also when you will usually book a job.
Right? Everyone's out of town except for you. You're going to book it
while you're out of town visiting your family. That's
right.
Just how it works.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, there's no set time. But it'll pick up again, and then it'll slow down again, and it'll pick up again.
Yep.
It's just how it works. I try to take advantage of the slower
take advantage
days,
of the slow time, so when it's crazy busy, you're not completely overwhelmed.
Yeah. All right. Have you ever heard of voice cast networks? I'd have to look into it. I'm trying to think if that's the one that I heard was sketchy, or if that's not.
All the names are so similar. It's hard to keep them straight.
They are. I don't like that it's so close to our name though. Voice cast. I will have to look it up. And come back and answer that for you. Because I don't want to say the wrong thing if they're not the ones that I'm thinking of. Now, casting networks, obviously, LA Casting Networks. That one is legit. They've been around for a long time. But voice cast networks, I have to get back to you. All right. And, Margot, good question. So she said, as casting directors, do you fall victim to scams as well, or less likely so? Less likely. I mean, I get weird stuff sometimes, but it's like as soon as I respond, not scammy, because it's like we have casting fees and stuff, so it's like as soon as I write back and be like, yeah, we'll help with your project, here's what it costs, then they're they either don't respond or I feel like the biggest one, and I haven't seen one like this in a while, I don't know if you have, Kathryn, where they would be like, I want my child to do 5 lessons with you every Monday for the next 5 weeks, and I'll pay you this amount up front. And it was like this whole thing, and it's like,
that's not how this works.
Yeah. No. So things like that, but yeah, a lot less likely than actors who are out there on their own in this crazy world. Susie, yeah. Keeping it conversational with Kathryn.
Yeah.
We will be doing them more often, and I didn't even think I was going to talk about this today, but I guess I'm going to. I am also Kathryn hasn't even heard this yet. This is
I
going to
don't
be
know
news.
what's going on.
I get a lot of really big ideas, and then I just do them. That's why we have merch and all kinds of stuff. I grab an idea and go for it. I put things into action because I'm like, why not? So one thing that I am working on is a couple of additional just 1-day workshops. So similar to keeping it conversational with Kathryn that Kathryn teaches and finding you in commercials, there are going to be a couple of other ones focusing on different topics and kind of breaking things up. And then my plan, and like I said, I'm just doing all of this now. So it's not fully thought out. So don't quote me on any of this, but it's going to be, my idea is that it'll be like, if you do one, it's going to be this. If you want to do 2 of them, there'll be a discount. If you want to do all 3, there'll be a discount, that kind of a thing. To also try to make things more cost effective. I know finances and, investing in yourself as voice actors can get so costly. So yeah, so those are my ideas. I do have ideas for some of the specific ones, but not enough to share just yet. So I will keep you posted on that. And Ellen asked if they're going to be in person. I do want to see if we can do a couple in person. We will see. So often when we try to do in-person classes, people are from all over. And so it's like they can't be here in LA in person. I've tried to do hybrid classes, and then everybody was basically like, I'd rather be on Zoom. So I'm like, okay. So it'll kind of all depend on, where in the year it is and that kind of thing as well. Yes, we are in Los Angeles, Ellen. All right. And what else did I miss? Did I miss anything else?
I think that was everything.
All right.
Any other questions?
I see that Ben also threw in the chat about our virtual workout group. So if that's a list that you're not on yet and you do want to get feedback from our casting team, you can sign up for that. We send out an email every Friday. It's $10 to do 1 script and get written feedback. It's $15 to do 2 scripts and get written feedback. And that's something that we do every week. You have from Friday when it goes out until Tuesday afternoon to get it back to us. And then the director has a couple days until Friday afternoon to get you written feedback. But it's a good way to just be getting feedback on things, because so often you just send things out into the world and you never know what happens.
It's a good way to play on different things too, because everyone reads on the same stuff. So maybe you'll get a script in a direction that you don't normally get to read on. It's a chance to play and practice some new skills.
Yeah.
So, always good for that too.
Absolutely. All right. Any other questions before we sign off for today? And Ben put the link in there also for our newsletter. We do have a newsletter that goes out every Wednesday. It's a great way to just stay on top of all the things that we have going on. We, of course, put all of our promos and discounts and stuff in there as well. But it's a good way to just see like any sort of upcoming events, anything that we're going to be at, because me and Kathryn
Some appearances coming up.
seem to be going everywhere nowadays. So yeah, definitely keep an eye on that if you don't already. All right. I don't think I missed any other questions. So, all right. If there's nothing else, obviously, we'll be back in 2 weeks to talk about websites. So mark your calendars, Wednesday, October 30th at 3 p.m. And we'll talk about websites, social media, all that good stuff. And yeah, as always, reach out if you guys have any questions. Feel free to, throw it in the chat here. We'll come back and, answer things in our next call as well. All right. We will see you all in a couple weeks.
Good night, everyone.
Thanks.